Gospel reading today comes from Matthew chapter 17. 6 days later, Jesus took with him Peter and James and his brother John, and led them up a high mountain by themselves. And he was transfigured before them, and his face shone like the sun, and his clothes became dazzling white. Suddenly there appeared to them Moses and Elijah, talking with him. Then Peter said to Jesus, "Lord, it is good for us to be here. If you wish, I will make 3 dwellings here, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." While he was still speaking, suddenly a bright cloud overshadowed them, and from the cloud a voice said, "This is my Son, the beloved. With him I am well pleased. Listen to him." When the disciples heard this, they fell to the ground and were overcome by fear. But Jesus came and touched them, saying, "Get up, and do not be afraid." And when they looked up, they saw no one except Jesus himself alone. As they were coming down the mountain, Jesus ordered them, "Tell no one about the vision until after the Son of Man has been raised from the dead." Amazing experience. Those 3 men chosen by Jesus to be led up to the mountaintop, to be taken up where all the great experiences happened, where people went to meet the divine. And that's what they did. They went up on the mountain, and there was Moses and Elijah talking with Jesus. And Peter, with all of his bright ideas, said, "This is awesome. We have to commemorate this event. We have to build something. So let's build 3 little huts or shacks or houses, one for each of you." And God says, "Shh. You think this is neat? You think this is cool? You just wait and see what's coming next. This is to prepare you for something else." But God says, "Be quiet and listen to my beloved, my Son, with whom I am well pleased." And what does Jesus say? His words give me every time when you think about it. I'm waiting for this big, long discourse from Jesus, but he says, "Be not afraid." God comes and scares the Jesus, no pun intended, out of the 3 disciples. And then Jesus says, "It's okay. Don't be scared. Everything is going to be all right." But what an experience to be up there on the mountain, seeing these figures, these people of the past, to see Jesus transfigured, shining so brightly that they can barely see him. Well, as we head in these liturgical seasons from Epiphany and then the transition point at the Transfiguration, we've got this build-up. We've got the light of the world as born into the earth. And then it gets brighter and brighter and brighter until Jesus is transfigured up on the mountaintop. But then, things get dark and bleak. Kind of like the season of Advent, where we're preparing for the light. In the liturgical calendar, we go into Lent, the wandering in the wilderness, the trying to find ourselves, the trying to find God. Chronologically speaking, Jesus starts his road to Jerusalem, the road to the cross. Both of them very difficult. Both of them points where Jesus is trying to find himself and figure out who he is. And I can only imagine the struggle that was happening within him as he questioned himself and said, "Am I really going to do this? Am I really going to let them do to me what I know is coming?" He could have hightailed it out of there at any time. But he knew that dark days were coming. And these liturgical seasons are symbolic for our lives. We have our times when we feel like we're transfigured, when we feel like everything is bright and joyous and glorious and nothing could possibly go wrong. And then we have our days down in the valley. Sometimes even the valley of the shadow of death, where it's so dark and bleak and you can't see any sunlight through the mountains. But then the sun comes up and we're refilled with joy again. And we start it all over. And so these liturgical seasons remind us of how our lives are. They remind us that we've always got a lot of soul searching to do. They remind us that life is sometimes really, really wonderful. And at other times, life can seem really, really bad. It's kind of like last week when it was 70 degrees. 70 degrees in the middle of February. Yeah, it was a tease. But it was nice. It kind of gets us through the rest of the winter, right? We experience that 70-degree day and we're reminded, oh yeah, 70-degree days exist. And so we're okay through the rest of winter until those warm days come again. And it's the same way. The Transfiguration is this pinnacle that reminds us that yes, the days are going to be cold and dark and gloomy ahead, but we're going to get through it. The sun will shine, the clouds will part, and everything will be okay. Yes, Jesus will die on a cross, but we know the rest of the story. Things will be okay. It's also an opportunity to ask ourselves about our own transfigurations, or even as a church community. One of those times that we have been on the mountaintop. Let's pause and think about that for 30 seconds. Think of times in this church's cycle of life when things have been really, really, really good. Take a moment to do that. Anybody want to share one?
For me, Brandyn, I just think about that time John shared this August on the story of the first time. It's emotionally impactful to them. God was in it, they were tears of joy, not tears of sorrow. So, I think that is a momentous occasion in my experience.
Yeah, definitely love that. Yeah.
When Marcia was in Nepal, and we listened to a story that touched our lives and changed us. And I was really proud of the church to be open and very willing to learn.
Big turning point, right? And we did go into the valley. We did go into the wilderness for a while and we searched and we found ourselves. Yeah, Brandyn.
Well, and then, even though I wasn't here then, I might not be here now.
Exactly.
So that is. And I think of every October, I watching the stories, see the crowds, and folks here, the energy of the building, all that stuff, to see people, it's always a great day.
It is. And every time, how the heck are we going to pull this together? How are we going to make this happen? But it happens. People come together, it happens, and we say, we did better than last year. Yeah.
When we marched in the Gay Pride Parade and
Oh, yeah.
converted words into action, that was really a high point for me.
That's right. Marching with the Pride Parade. And this is the first year, so I was in the second year. Oh, wow. What an experience. Very emotional experience. Great. We've been there. We've been to the mountaintop. We've seen what it looks like looking out over everything. And we can't forget what that was like. Yeah, we have to go back down into the valley. We have to go back down and get our hands dirty and our feet wet because that's just what Jesus and the disciples did. You recall, as soon as they got down to the bottom of the mountain, back into the valley, the man came and he was complaining about the other disciples who wouldn't heal his child. And Jesus says, "Oh, how long must I be with you? How long do I have to do your work for you?" Right? Right away, they had to get back to work. It was no mistake that Moses and Elijah were up on that mountain with Jesus. Moses knew about wandering in the desert, huh? 40 years of it. 40 years of wandering with the people of Israel, trying to find the promised land. Finally, when he spotted it, he made some mistakes, and he never got to cross into it. Elijah, running from Jezebel, scared that he was going to be killed, wandering in the wilderness, and the angel of God kept coming to him and saying, "Take some bread. You need to eat. You need your strength. Your work is not done." But he made it through. And so will we. And so as we prepare for Lent, both metaphorical and literal, as we look on to Ash Wednesday that's coming up this week, we ask ourselves, who are the people that need to be with us on this journey? All of us are here. But who needs to be by our side, holding our hand, giving each other strength as we head into Lent, as we continue to find ourselves, as we continue to rebuild who we are as a community and as a church? Who do we need to reach out to and say, "Hey, I need you with me on this journey"? Where we go from here, what we do from now, how we take this journey together into the wilderness, well, it's up to us to decide together. But I think we'll do all right. Amen.